Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Global PropTech Online. Our next speaker will be Atholl Milton from StreetDots, and I'll give the screen to him. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Atholl Milton, and I am one of the co-founders of a company called StreetDots based in London, UK. Firstly, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the Global PropTech Online team for inviting me to do this webinar today. Amazingly, this is my first webinar, or global webinar, and I definitely think it's probably the future of kind of video conferencing. I kind of truly hope what I share with you today is valuable, and that what you can benefit, and that hopefully you can benefit from what we have prepared. For your understanding, we StreetDots are the eyes and the ears on the ground. Looking at every sector in real estate, we have learned some valuable lessons in flexible leasing, micro-retailing, well-being, development activation, and much more. But one of the most valuable lessons we've learned so far this year is if you want to get things done these days, you must and you need to kind of work in collaboration. So before I kind of start sharing the trends that I want to sort of talk about in 2020, please let me just indulge a little bit, a few moments, and tell you a little bit about what we do. It's only 2 slides. Very simply, StreetDots is a booking engine. StreetDots supports retail estate, the real estate sector with development activations. We do this by supporting small independent mobile brands that are looking for iconic kind of places to trade. At StreetDots, we probably have the largest database of mobile traders in the world. In fact, we have over 2,700 in and around London, all seeking space today to share their offer. Our aim is to breathe life into new and existing developments between cool and up and coming businesses for their daily convenience. This could be things like your morning coffee, hot street food at lunch, unique mobile retail offers, seasonal gifting, and much, much more. All this activation is managed through our platform. The other side of the business, when it's not about the vendor, it's about the land operator. Land operators of any type through our platform can enhance their tenant experience and hopefully in turn increase footfall, gain insights from the commercial data we capture, and seek further opportunities to increase offerings on their estate. We do this at no cost to the land asset. In fact, our key locations are generating an extra 50,000 additional revenue when they collaborate with us. Overall, we have hundreds of prestigious land partners spread across every single real estate sector, from business parks, universities, stadiums, pubs, and much more. We have a number of products to provide a seamless end-to-end solution to asset managers, facility managers, and campus managers to offer a constant flexible approach. The second slide, and talking about flexibility, is really, truly at the heart of our solution. The beauty of our business is our offerings are rotational. They're kind of here today and gone tomorrow. This keeps our offers fresh and exciting. It took us several years to establish what we have now, but moving forward, it's all about being in the right place at the right time, offering the right solution. Vendors that use our platform bucked the trend of flat to negative revenue growth in food and retail offers last year. Data is becoming a big part of our business. And in August this year, we analyzed our first year-on-year stats across the platform. And we have seen an average sales growth on our vendors between 22 and 27% in the London areas. For ease, these stats are simply based on a review of the geography based on north, south, east, and west London. But in general, this is a massively positive sign showcasing when the market stats, when you market match the right place with the right offer. We believe when you get the rotation right between the asset, vendor, and consumer, everything is perfectly matched. We now have data and see some of our established vendors performing in equal parity with bricks and mortar fixed asset operators. So kind of enough about StreetDots. What I want to get straight to is just simply what our top 3 trends we believe will be for 2020. Since starting this business, we've been heavily involved in place shaping It's the kind of new word for placemaking and development activation. Here is what I kind of see, or what we see as the trends for 2020. Very simply, and I'll delve into these a little bit more on one slide each. Firstly, microleasing. Secondly, well-being. And three, something that we have listed as what we call the community effect. Moving to the slides, starting off with, first of all, microleasing. This trend is not going anywhere. Flexible leasing, pop-ups, or pay-as-you-go co-working are all here to stay. And I've kind of If any of you are PropTech enthusiasts, I'm not going to preach to you, as you'll already know a shed load more information than I do about this. Investors and researchers predict that the square footage allocated to flexible co-working use will grow up to 20% of total lease space by 2030, compared to about 2% of today. I'm going to put a stake in the ground and state long-term leases are history. Despite WeWork's recent fall from grace, flexible offices are no fad. This will obviously take longer than just 1 year, but the reality is the millennial behavior is here and only growing. If stats are true, then in the urban areas, 70% of all office workers will be from the millennial generation and beyond. What will become a 20-80 percentage market between rental lease and flexible leasing, I believe it is going to grow further and diminish tenanted leases much faster. If what we see in StreetDots, with the cost challenges rising in small businesses, then these small businesses, already nimble as they are, will remain focused on operating a business without heavy burdens. Number two, pop-up retail. You Google pop-up retail and then click the news section, you'll see a huge shift in luxury retail brands popping up in all major cities. Retail on the whole has not fully evolved yet to meet the needs of retailers and consumers. The pop-up industry is worth a staggering 50 billion and is only going to get bigger. At StreetDots, we see the early wave of new retail, a mixture between the premium and not so premium and up-and-coming retailers. All these businesses are seeking cost-effective and simple routes to reach their target audience. Following the success of our platform, we are already seeing some of our land operators we partner with experimenting with leasing by the hour within fixed property units. This year, we'll see a greater rise in these numbers inside buildings and definitely outside. For number two, well-being. It's been around for years, but well-being is like good design. It is more of an attitude than kind of a set of rules. Well-being is not only vital to attract and retain tenants, but it's a mega bucks industry and something that can actually make additional revenue if you provide more well-being services in-house. The Global Wellness Institute's 2018 Building Well to Live report highlighted that the global market for wellness-focused real estate is expected to be worth 198 billion by 2022. We at StreetDots have already been approached by a number of single operators wanting to access prime locations, offering everything from spiritual support, physical offerings, and quick health fixes. All assets should be kind of considering this option. The logistical side of well-being is arguably more difficult than the physical. It is relatively straightforward to provide well-being activities and to encourage engagement through the use of community apps. But there is a need to monitor and review take-up, to evolve the offer and to ensure you're not placing a long-term financial burden on tenants or investors. The well-being agenda is here to stay, and the real estate sector needs to ensure it's catering to the well-being requirements or be left behind. Offices and business parks should look at incorporating beauty into their developments. If you can allow your tenants to use services which would normally save them time, impacting less on their home time, you are creating valuable spaces. The same goes for grab and go food, food offerings, but not allow tenants, why not allow tenants to pick up something for dinner whilst at work? All this is part of managing a person's well-being. Well-being has trends which appear and disappear. You need to work with specialists to ensure the offerings are fresh and cutting edge, and definitely not so kind of last season. Fads in this sector will come and go. Assets need to work with the collaborators to create an equal opportunity for all. And lastly, the kind of community effect. And this focuses on better infrastructure. For this to sort of really truly work, there needs to be a focus on better infrastructure. PropTech allows for communities to connect and communicate. There is so much variety in the PropTech sector, with all the niche ideas and potential saviors to the high street or tenant support. In the UK, and likely across the globe, we are seeing local shops and open space empty out. They are only activated by limited offers such as small activities or one single day events. These spaces were once community hubs offering experiences in kind of different ways. I believe there is no single solution to this matter, but from what I see within PropTech is an opportunity for public sector and private sector to begin to enable a community effect of multiple PropTech offers and users where their data can be shared, all gaining the benefits simply to the consumer. You'll see technology like ours used alongside others that will help to bring products and services to areas while enhancing the current offerings. But what I want to share is a really simple slide that we might talk about the challenges to PropTech and where the buildings and the assets are faced. The reality is technology is here to stay, but people still crave physical experiences. The reality is any small asset wants to become global and truly have a global presence. But the reality is people's behavior is still demanding a local opportunity. And all these are based on the simple behavior of experiences. I believe 2020 is expected to be the year when this transition finally happens, where a fitting mix of value services for tenants will become almost compulsory in this order. So in summary, in terms of where we are, if you take the three things that I just shared, there's a thing to note about everything that we're doing. We might take into the fact there's technology, but people's behaviors and experiences are the most important things. There's definitely more to innovation than technology. 2, real estate models are changing, and so are consumer behaviors. And that's the demand where there's going to be a need for a much more flexible approach or rotational approach, or approach where we actually meet the demands of people being in the right place at the right time and the right offer. Hence the three markers we put down as 1, 2, and 3. And lastly, the human element is becoming more important than ever before. To do all these three things, people need to collaborate and work together to create a much better community effect. The community effect is going to be built on relationships, it's going to be built on sharing data, and it's going to be built on making sure the consumer gets what they want from the right people in the right space. So, in summary, that was much faster than I actually thought. I was going to obviously talk through these three things. But if you do have any questions, I'll put the details up here onto this slide, so you can obviously get in touch with me, but also by all means, I can offer any questions out to the panel. So lastly, it was very brief and very short, but I'd like to obviously wish everybody a great season, and I'll see if there is any questions. Question from Michelle or Michael? Michelle. So Michelle, in terms of your question, which is, thanks for the presentation, could you guide us through the revenue model, please? Obviously that's much more related to our business. Our revenue model is very simply based on activation. So whenever we sign up a land operator, there's no cost to them, initial cost, where we make money is obviously generate money through booking of the space. And we work very hard to do that. So we work on the activation, what's required. Then simply as we share the revenue split that we deliver. What we specialize in is pricing that space. And then we split and share the revenue equally on that model, on the activation that happens. All the payments then balance because it's a tech platform. You'll get your statements, you get your activity reports. It's quite a clever system, so you can have visibility on everything that's coming to you, as well as then what you receive at the end of it. So it's all very nicely wrapped up for yourself to use.
Well, Atholl, I was wondering, this is Global PropTech Online. I was wondering if you could also walk us through, a little bit more about the community aspect and how you see that growing in 2020. So the idea of tech-enabled experiences, and whether that's something that you see as being a very seasonal thing, thinking about now that it's within the holidays, or something that's going to actually expand to be more of a year-round experience.
So firstly, to answer very directly, is I see it being a way of enabling a constant, especially with this idea and this, we talk about the community effect. It's not really been discussed before. We're kind of putting out there, but the reality of what I see and from what I hear, and this is going to a lot of the global PropTech buddies around, especially around the UK, is there's definitely a challenge on the high street, or creating open space and an impact or a network to get communities really onto the ground, with an opportunity obviously to activate space generally. So that might be a residential tower block, or a series of tower blocks that have a beautiful garden or asset down the bottom, and it's always underutilized. And then you take the public sector, which is the high street, again, which is kind of getting decimated, and it's not really an experience to go to anymore, whereas it used to be. There's some amazing, beautiful destination operations that exist, such as your giant retail outlets or shopping centers. They're wonderful places to go. But it's where we used to congregate and where we should be congregating these days. The challenges always come from what I listen to, is everybody's doing a small solution to this. So I talk about a number of apps that help office tenants see what they do better. So you can talk about the classics of District and Ritual, obviously, in terms of just helping support or pay for where they want to go. But these are obviously only offering a single solution to the problem. And when I caught up with the local authorities, and I don't know if you're familiar with the UK, but we have a body here called the GLA, which is a Greater London Authority under the Mayor's Office. And I caught up with them, and there's some guys doing some really small, niche, amazing stuff. And if we take the high street, for example, which is most challenged, especially outside London, that there is a need there to create or activate the space that used to be a hive or a hub of experience. And now the problem is when you've got the small niche companies doing these things, and you take our company like StreetDots, and we might be able to activate the outdoor space. But to create then where the indoor space has become more challenged, you need people like Shopfront, Storefront, or people like Appear Here, help enabling that by the hour. But there's got to be a long-term longevity of a shared group approach in the PropTech world, where all these people can come together and start sharing their data to support the needs of what these activities can become. Because it's only in the benefit of us as businesses, but it's also in benefit of the local authority, but it's also in benefit of the landlords and land operators in that space.